Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at today's notes. On the first part, it says basic geometry terms. So we're just going to go over a few of the geometry terms. We have a point. A point represents a location and it has no sign. So if you look here, we have a point, and that point is P. So it's a little dot, and that little dot means that it's a point. Now you can name it as point P. You would have to write out the whole entire word. All right, so for the next one, we have a line. So a line is a straight path that extends forever in two directions. So if you see you have two arrows here at the end, and that's what makes a line, you can name it line CD with a line on top. So you can just put in words line CD, or you can put it with the symbol on top of the CD. So you can also use the letters D and E, or you can use C and E. So you can use any 2 points that are on that line. You can see C, D, and E on there. It doesn't matter which two you pick. You can pick any ones, and that's how you name the line. Now, sometimes you can name a line with a lowercase letter. So it says another way to name the line is with a single lowercase letter. The line on the example is line M. Okay, so line segment. Now, don't get it confused with a line. They're two very different things. So a line segment is when it's part of the line, it's not the whole line, and it's in between 2 points. So it's just from A to B. It does not include the part that extends forever and ever in both directions. So you do have endpoints. In words, you can name it as AB or BA. The order does not matter. And then when you show the little picture, you use a line segment. You don't use a line like in the example above. All right, array. Array is part of a line that starts at an endpoint and extends forever in one direction. Okay, so it doesn't go in two directions like the other one. It's only in one direction. So that's going to be array. So if you notice here, it starts here at X, and then it goes through Y and goes on forever. This one goes in the opposite direction. So it starts at Y, and then it goes on forever in the other direction. So you have ray XY, and then you also have ray YX. So B, this one right here, represents this one. And then the other one, which is this one right here, A, is represented by this one. So in array, the order does matter the way that you write the letters. You have to start with the endpoint and then the next one where the direction goes on forever. All right, a plane. A plane is a flat surface. So if you see here, this is an example of a flat surface. Now, you only need 3 points. So it says at least 3 points to name a plane. Now, they used all 4 points here, but you only really need 3. So here it says name each figure using words and symbols if applicable. So if we look at this first one is going to be array because it has an endpoint. It starts right here at point P, and then it continues on forever through Q. So in words, this is going to be ray. Let me go ahead and zoom in. This is going to be ray. And then with your rays, the order matters. So ray, P, Q. And then with symbols, you put a P and a Q. Remember, we have to start with the letter where the endpoint is. That's why I'm starting with P. And then you make a ray on top. Okay, number 2. Now this one is a line segment because it starts here at S, and then it goes to T, and it has endpoints. It doesn't continue on forever in any direction. So we write it segment. Segment. And then you put S, T with a line segment on top. And then the symbol, oh, you know what? That's for the symbol. So then for symbol, it's going to be ST with the segment on top. Okay, number 3. So on this one, we have this flat surface. Now remember, you do not need all of the letters. You just need 3 letters. Now there's no way to represent a plane as a symbol. So when you write it in words, you're just going to write plane. And you can pick any of the 3 points on there, or you can use all of them. Now, it doesn't matter which letter you start with as long as you start with say, for example, we start with K and we go in the same direction. So we'll call this plane K, and then we need to go around L, M, J. So you can't jump around with letters. Okay, for example, that's not a J. For example, I can't say K, then M, then L, then J. So K, M, L, J. That would be wrong because they do not go in that order. It doesn't jump from one end to the other end and so on. Okay, you need to go around in a circle. All right, the next one, number 4. So here we have line MN. Okay, it's a line because it extends on forever in both directions. We have arrows pointing in both directions. So in words, we write it as line. And the order doesn't matter if I wanted to start with the M or if I wanted to start with the N, it doesn't matter. Now for the symbol, it is MN, and we're going to put a line segment on top. Okay, let's move to the next one. This one is a point, and this is going to be point Y. Now there is no symbol for point, so you have to write out the whole word, point Y. Okay, this one we do have array again. Remember the order matters when it comes to array. So it starts at point T and then it continues on through S and through Y. So when we're writing it in words, we're going to say ray, and then it can be ray TS, or we can use ray TY. So let me go ahead and write that out. Ray TY. Either answer choice or either answer is correct, okay, because as long as we start at T. And then for the symbols, we would put TS with the ray going in the exact same direction as we wrote it. And then we have, or you could have used TY. Okay, so A, B, C, and D are shown. They want us to draw a segment from A to B. They also want us to, let's go ahead and draw a segment from A to B. So we're going to do number 7. They want us to draw a segment. So from A to B, you drew a segment. On the next one, draw a ray starting at B and going through C. That's what number 8 is saying. So we're going to start at B and we're going to go past C. And since it's a ray, it's going to go on forever and to C, after C. The next one is draw CD. So when we're drawing CD, it is a line, so it's going to go forever in both directions. So CD, and this is what it would look like. The next one is asking us to draw DA, and that one they want us to draw a ray DA. So we start at D, we pass through A, and we create a ray. And then the last one is asking us to draw BD. So this is a line segment BD. So we're just going to start at B and end at D. All right. So now we have some more vocabulary. We have collinear. Co means they're all on the same line. So points that lie on the same plane. So maybe you've heard the term before, co-ed. It is a co-ed soccer team. It is a co-ed basketball team. That means that co-ed means that both genders can play. So collinear means that all these points lie on the same line. Okay. So here we have F, G, and H. All of these we would say are collinear because they all are on the same line. Now they also put an example, non-collinear. So if it is non-collinear, it's points that do not lie on the same line. So they give us an example of F, G, and B. Now F and G are both on the same line, but B is not. Okay, so then we cannot say those 3 points are collinear if they all don't lie on the same plane. They all have to lie on the same plane. And then the last definition is opposite rays. So it's 2 collinear rays with the same endpoint. So here on our example, they say MN and MO. So if you notice, they both start at M. except one is going to the right through O, which is this one here that they name, and then the other one is going through N, which is this one that they name. Okay, so those are called collinear rays. They're on the same line, or opposite rays, sorry. So here it says, use a figure to complete the exercises. Give 2 examples of 3 points that are collinear. So we're looking for collinear. That means 3 points that lie on the same line. So if I look here, I have this line here that has 3 points. We have E, we have K, and we have H. They are all collinear. So I'm going to write here E, K, and H. And I'm going to look for another spot. So another spot would be C, L, and G. They are all collinear because they are all on the same line. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. C, L, and G. C, L, and G. Okay, the next one wants us to give 2 examples of 3 points that are non-collinear. So now we're looking for 2 points, or 3 points, I'm sorry, that are non-collinear, that they're not on the same line. So we can pick any 3 points as long as they're not on the same line. So I'm going to use A, L, and F. None of those are on the same line, so these are non-collinear. Okay, I'm gonna pick another 2 points. So for example, E and K are on the same line, but E, K, and G are all together not on the same line. So those are non-collinear. Okay, remember, it doesn't matter if 2 of them are the same line. All 3 of them have to be on the same line to be collinear. Now, the intersection of 2 lines or a segment is a point. So this is called an intersection right here. This little point right here is an intersection. So it wants us to name the intersection of AB and BC. So they are referring to this diagram right here, AB and BC. So I'm going to trace over that, AB and BC, and the point of intersection is point B. So I'm going to write out here, point B. On the next one, they want us to find the intersection of FG and EF. So if you notice, both of these have a letter in common, and the letter they have in common is F. So that's just a little hint of where the point of intersection is going to be, point F. But just to look at the picture, FG and EF, here is FG is back here, FG. And EF is right here, and their point of intersection would be at point F, which is what we got just from the information they gave us. All right, 2 more definitions. So we have coplanar and we have non-coplanar. So if we had to take a wild guess, now that we know what co means, planar means plane. So it means points that lie on the same plane. And then we have non-coplanar. And non-coplanar is points that do not lie on the same plane, hence the non. So here they give us an example. W, X, Y, Z are non-coplanar because they're not all on the same plane. Z is off to the side, so it is not coplanar with W, X, and Y. Now, W, X, and Y alone are coplanar because they're on that same plane. So if we do some more examples, it says here, use a figure to complete the following exercises. Name the point that is coplanar with points A, D, and E. So I'm going to look for A, D, and E. A, D, and E is this front panel here of our rectangular prism. And so this A, D, and E also has another point that is coplanar with it, and that point is going to be point H right here. Oh, H. The next one is name the point that is coplanar with C, D, and H. So C, D, and H, let's look for C, D, and H. That's this side panel right here, C, D, and H. And the point that is coplanar with C, D, and H is going to be point. Oh my gosh. Point G. And then the next one is asking for what is a point that is non-coplanar with points A, B, and D. So we're looking for non-coplanar. So A, B, and D is this top panel right here. Now with A, B, and D, C would be the coplanar point, but we're looking for non-coplanar. So if we're looking for non-coplanar, I'm going to have to pick any other point that's not A, B, D, or C that would be on a difference. So I'm going to pick E down here. Now E would be correct, F would be correct, G would be correct, H would be correct. I'm just looking for any one that you pick that is not on the same plane. So there will be multiple answers for these type of problems. All right, the next says the intersection of two planes is a line. So if you look, this plane and this plane, when they cross each other, they create this line that they drew on there for us already. This one right here. Okay, so if we look here, it says name the intersection of plane ABCD and plane DCGH. So let's go ahead and look. ABCD, whoops. ABCD is this top green plane that I had already highlighted, and DCGH is this gray plane. So when we look for their intersection, this would be the intersection of the both planes, which would be D and C. So if we go back, D and C, and it is a line segment. All right, so if you do notice on there, they both have C and D in common. So that's how you're going to kind of know where their intersection is. So if we look for the intersection of planes EFGH and BCGF, we'll notice that both of them have an F and a G. That means that's going to be the intersection. Now, if you wanted to actually look at the picture, EFGH is a bottom plane, and BC FG is the back plane, and you'll notice that they intersect right about here. And we already wrote the intersection. The next one says draw plane ABGH. So if we drew a plane from AB to GH, I know it's kind of messy. Let me go ahead and delete that. Let me use this one from A to B to G to H. So that would be the plane. And then lastly, it says name the intersection of plane ABGH and plane CDHG. So I'm going to cheat just a little bit. I'm going to look at which letters they have in common again. And then G and H and G is what they have in common. So GH, and I'm going to put the line segment on top. And if I look, this would be GH right here. And that would be their point of intersection. All right, so go ahead and try out your assignment. It's nothing too crazy, and I will see you guys on Monday.